Good morning, friends. It's your boy Moog. This is Wake Up Wyoming for November 17th, 2017. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully, the wind doesn't blow in the mic too much. I am on the road still at the wonderful library here in Moab, Utah. Just waiting for an audience to build here, making sure that we've got some viewers and a decent connection. Show me some love in the comments there. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and we'll get this thing going. Hopefully, the connection is fast enough. Big news here coming out of the Telegraph today, just a couple hours old. The world's first human head transplant. What's up, David? Thanks for tuning in. Good to see we got a comment there. The world's first human head transplant, a success. Controversial scientist claims. Look at this guy. Italian surgeon Sergio Canavero said a team had realized the first human head transplant. What's up, Kyle Robinson? What's up, Lily Gale? What's up, Jay Scott North? Thank you all for tuning in. First human head transplant goes off without a hitch. Carried out on a corpse in China. This prompts the obvious question, though, in the future when this stuff is actually going full bore, who are they going to get these functioning bodies from that billionaires can put their heads on, right? Stranger than fiction. But, yeah, that's the news. What's up there? What did they transplant it onto? Kevin Weber asked. It says they carried it out on a corpse in China in an 18-hour operation that showed it was possible to successfully reconnect the spine, nerves, and blood vessels. So this is actually happening. This article is only 3 hours old, but it's done. But the obvious question is, in the future, once this has become like a standard procedure, are these billionaires going to have their heads put onto young bodies? Like some ripped, buff young dude gets kidnapped, body snatched, so to speak, and next thing you know, he's dead. His head is in a dumpster somewhere, and some billionaire's got his body. Stranger than fiction. What's up? Thank you all for tuning in. Good to see you. Thank you so much for showing up. Matthew Bullock saying, "Hi, Max. Is this real?" Yeah, this is coming out of the telegraph.co.uk. I've been following this one for a while, so we'll see what happens there. Moving along. That's our strange headline. Speaking of tech, artificial intelligence will obliterate half of all jobs, starting with white collar, says the ex-president of Google in China. Everyone needs to rethink the practical and social impact of fewer jobs in the future. Okay, no big surprise there. In the era of the self-driving car, rapid advances in artificial intelligence, robotics, and so forth, and frankly, just good old-fashioned internet. Moving on from there, a good example of this, Amazon says it's almost ready to get thousands of grocery store cashiers fired, coming from our friend Tyler Durden at Zero Hedge. Late last year, we noted Amazon's efforts to disrupt the traditional grocery retail model by introducing small format stores that allow customers to simply walk in, pick up what they want, and walk out. The concept store, dubbed Amazon Go, tracks a customer's every move, including each item they remove from store shelves, allowing them to skip long, often frustrating checkout lines. Now, after nearly a full year of testing their Seattle concept store with employees, Amazon says their cashier-less grocery store is just about ready to go live. So, it's one thing to have like the self-checkout counters in stores, but now the new thing, RFID tags in all the products, in your phone. You got an app. You walk into the store, you pick up all your stuff, you walk out, and you're auto-billed by Amazon. Makes it difficult to shoplift, that's for sure. H. Messner says there will be jobs fixing the robots. Learn how to fix robots. Right? Stranger than fiction. So, sorry about the bummer news there, but, I'm just reporting the news. Angela Jenkins chiming in, Sam's and other stores have started this already. Thank you, Angela. Thank you all for your comments. So, just a heads up there. Find, keep looking for alternative ways to make a living, because a lot of jobs are going away real soon with the self-driving car, artificial intelligence. I don't know. Nathan Pools chiming in, more product moving faster will need shelves being stocked. Yeah. David Levy chiming in, security jobs will increase despite robotics, right? I think people they're always going to find tasks for people to do. But it's just important to note that we kind of live in this era of depopulation, and you know, it's more of a corporate oligarchy running the show than a democratically elected government. And what does a corporation do when they no longer need your services? They fire you. What does a corporate oligarchy do when they no longer need so many people? They get rid of them. Dan Huggins chiming in, universal income. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. That's one option. Anthony David Middleton, thank you so much, bro. Appreciate that. Melissa Spurlock chiming in. One of my friends who worked for a big retailer said this was getting ready to happen, right? It's going to take several years. Amazon way ahead of other companies when it comes to this sort of thing, but I wouldn't be surprised to see, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, most grocery stores give you the option to walk in, pick up your stuff, walk out, be tracked. Every purchase you make tracked by your smartphone through some app related to the store, and no need for checkout people, which is a shame because I always really enjoy chatting. Thanks. Julian McIntyre says, go smoke a bowl, dude. I don't know, Vince. I don't have any weed, man. If you got some, I'm at the Moab Library. Come on down. Ralph Shelton chiming up some great comments. There will be no reason to work more than 50 hours a week, right? It's funny. Back in the 50s, there was a movement to go to a 4-day work week in the U.S., right? There was a legitimate movement towards it. And, it's like, oh, we got washing machines now. We got dishwashers. We got all vacuum cleaners, all this technology making it life more efficient. Why not make life easier? Make it so people have to work less. So hopefully that is the trend. Appreciate that. Gage Masters got me covered. Thanks, Gage. Appreciate that. By the way, I've been out climbing rocks out in the mountains, climbing some towers the last couple of days. Luckily got in a shower. Pretty good. Moving on to the next headline coming out of the Washington Post. Speaking of backwardsness, the Keystone Pipeline spills 210,000 gallons of oil on the eve of the permitting decision for the Trans-Canada Pipeline. Okay, these pipelines are so stupid. These things are so vulnerable to earthquakes, to, all sorts of things. It's so frustrating that we're still investing into fossil fuel infrastructure when we could be going into Tesla tech, we could be going into less advanced technologies like wind and solar, but instead they're turning the United States into horrible, dystopian future where it's crisscrossed with oil pipelines that leak like crazy. Pedja Silic chiming in, must be a coincidence, right? So that's interesting to see. Pipeline birth. Speaking of pipeline protests, the Dakota Access Pipeline Company paid mercenaries, the Tiger Swan mercenaries, to build conspiracy lawsuits against environmentalists. This coming out of The Intercept yesterday or 2 days ago. The private security firm Tiger Swan worked to build a RICO suit accusing Greenpeace, Earth First, and BankTrack of inciting protests to increase donations. Private security firm Tiger Swan, hired by ETP to protect the controversial Dakota Access Pipeline, was paid to gather information for what would become a sprawling conspiracy lawsuit accusing environmentalist groups of inciting the anti-pipeline protests in an effort to increase donations, 3 former Tiger Swan contractors told The Intercept. Look at all these great comments here. Angie Eagle chiming in, a person from Montreal said they are reporting 800,000 gallons. So I wonder if we're getting actual figures here. That's a great question, Angie. Thanks for chiming in with that. Who's actually counting? Good morning, Linda Hatchett. Cindy Mather chiming in, lots of earthquakes lately. Yeah, fracking causes earthquakes. Fracking causes earthquakes. And then they're using these oil pipelines that are vulnerable to earthquakes to ship the shit. Just not very bright. So Thomas Suk Jr. chiming in, the water protectors was right. They still are. There's still a lot of people out there fighting the pipelines. In August, a law firm founded by Mark Kazowitz, Donald Trump's personal attorney for more than a decade, filed a 187-page racketeering complaint against Greenpeace, Earth First, and the divestment group BankTrap on behalf of blah, 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 seeking $300 million in damages on behalf of ETP. The No Dapple movement, the suit claims, was driven by a network of putative not-for-profits and rogue eco-terrorist groups who employ patterns of criminal activity and campaigns of information to target legitimate companies and industries with fabricated environmental claims. Okay, so there's your tax dollars at work funding this. They got this whole, it's a good article here at The Intercept. Sorry about the wind there blowing the mic. I'm outside. It's beautiful out here at the Moab Library. Got nice fast internet, so hopefully it's not too bad. Melissa Spurlock chiming in. They are destroying our planet, right? Linda Hatchett, wish we all had better news. I know. Sorry. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news. I'm just trying to, tell it like it is. Try to stay optimistic. Encourage people to do what they can to make their lives better and the lives for their loved ones. And, it's good to be aware and not let this weaponized information get you down at the same time. Hannah Coben chiming in. Am I the only one who thinks almost the entire point of the pipeline was to poison the water? No, I don't think you're alone in that assessment at all, Hannah. Even fracking in general, it's like sacrificing clean groundwater for temporary short-term oil and natural gas supplies is so stupid, and it does toxify the water. So no big surprise there. Tara Clinch chiming in. America's air, water, and food are poisoned. We are being killed off slowly, right? So take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Cindy Mather chiming in. Water's poison already. Fluoride. Melissa Spurlock agreeing with that. So I'm with y'all on that. 100%. No doubt about it. Moving along. Next headline. Of course, Trumpo making it easier for police to get military equipment like MRAPs, which we saw at Standing Rock. I was out there at Standing Rock for a month, for 5 weeks total, and I didn't see any protesters making money off of the protest. They make it out like Greenpeace and Earth First were there. I didn't even see a presence from them out there. But there were a lot of passionate young people who were trying to make a difference. Well, passionate people of all ages. But key take-home point here, let me scroll down through this long article at NBC. Sorry about the wind. I lost my place there, but basically Obama made it illegal for them to buy 50 caliber ammo and grenade launchers and stuff, and now Trump has rescinded that ban. So Trumpo hard at work. Moving along. Speaking of craziness, slow call. What's up, David Coco Rico? How you doing, bro? Thanks for the links you've been sending me. I really appreciate that. I know the situation in Puerto Rico is still bad. Less than half of Puerto Ricans have got the lights turned on. Well, it's the same thing in the U.S. Virgin Islands. 2 months after Hurricanes Maria and Irma, 73% of residents remain without power 2 months later. Isn't that insane? Imagine if that had happened in in Houston in the wake of Hurricane Harvey. Or imagine if that happened in Florida in the wake of Hurricane Maria. It's amazing how these people are just being left out to dry. Of course, who is going to benefit from this? Well, rich people like Donald Trump will show up out there on these historically tax haven islands and be able to swoop up all this primo island real estate for pennies on the dollar. Real convenient for gated communities when you're terrified of the populace that you've been slowly poisoning. Siobhan chiming in nicely. Killing ye off slowly and pretending the meds help. Double whammy. Zane Borden asking some great questions there. It's a good question. I don't think it's the end times. That's biblical. I don't mean to knock on the Bible, but I think that the earth and human civilization keeps going, and this is we're in the midst of a huge transition, no doubt about that. But it's not the end of the world, in my opinion. But, I'm the eternal optimist. Speaking of craziness here, this is coming out of Chris Hedges at Truth Dig. RT America torched in the witch hunt of 2017. This came out a couple days ago. I was out in the desert, so I missed out on this one as it was breaking. But they're going after RT News, which is a pretty good news network, actually. RT stands for Russia Today. In one of the most horrendous blows to press freedom since the anti-communist witch hunts of the 1950s, the U.S. Department of Justice had forced the news broadcaster RT America to file under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA. The assault on RT America, on which I, Chris Hedges, host a show on Contact, has nothing to do with the dissemination of Russian propaganda. It is driven by RT America's decision to provide a platform to critics of American capitalism and imperialism, critics who lambaste a system of government that can no longer be called democratic. And it is accompanied by the installation of algorithms by Google, Facebook, and Twitter that divert readers away from left-wing, progressive, and anti-war websites, including TruthDig, where I'm reading this. The World Socialist website has seen its traffic fall from Google fall by 74% since April. Google, in a further blow this month, removed RT from its list of preferred channels on YouTube. Twitter had blocked all advertising by RT. Put the censorship campaigns together, and the message is clear. Left-wing critics, really all critics, I'm not left-wing or right-wing, I don't identify with either, already marginalized by the state, must be silenced. The report charged RT's reports often characterize the U.S. as a surveillance state and allege widespread infringements of civil liberties, police brutality, and drone use. RT has also focused on criticism of the U.S. economic system, UN currency system, alleged Wall Street greed, alleged greed, huh? Pretty sure Wall Street's run on greed, and the U.S. national debt. Some of RT's hosts have compared the U.S. to Imperial Rome and have predicted that government corruption and corporate greed will lead to U.S. financial collapse. I think so. Andrew Ward asking, do you believe Pizzagate? Yeah, man, there's pedos all over the place in the halls of power. There's pedos in Hollywood, there's pedos in D.C., and there's pedos in every city in the country. So, yeah, Pizzagate, absolutely. The Alice in Wonderland quality of the report would be laughable if it was not so ominous. The United States, in fact, is a surveillance state. Civil liberties have been eviscerated. Police brutality is endemic. Our drone wars have made us state terrorists. The economic structure serves the wealthiest corporations and oligarchs. Wall Street is run by a criminal class. Our debt is unsustainable, especially once the dollar is no longer the world's reserve currency. And like all decaying empires, we are headed for collapse. The DNI report clarifies what the ruling elites fear, not fake news, but the truth. And the truth is that the elites have destroyed the country and are traitors to democracy. So Chris Hedges on to speak his mind. It's good to read that there at TruthDig. Yeah, pretty heavy duty stuff. Moving along. They always blame Russia. They're going after RT. Well, no big surprise there. The Brits are blaming Russia, saying they attacked energy, telecom, and the media. Russian cyber operatives, so scary, have attacked Britain's media, telecom, and energy sectors over the past year. It goes on and on. Typical propaganda. Again, Facebook has gotten some heat over this. Google, as they're ramping up all this censorship of independent media, independent voices from all perspectives, they're blaming the Russians for it. It's like, oh, the Russians meddled in everything, and now we have to shut down everybody's freedoms. Moving along. Speaking of in propaganda, coming out of antiwar.com, Russia accuses the U.S. of providing cover for ISIS fighters. No big surprise there. Andrew Ogle is saying, I like that comment a lot, thank you. What can we do to make a bigger impact? We just got to live this truth all day, every day. I mean, that's what it is. Like every moment of every day, you got to be aware of this stuff, but not super pessimistic about it and go out of your way to inform people. Jerry Wallace, what's up, Jerry? Good to see you. Sorry I missed you up in Salt Lake. I blame the Rothschilds too, the global banking cartel, the elites who never make it on the wealthiest in the world list because they got so much money that it's absolutely offensive. But back to this article. No big surprise here that Russia's accusing the U.S. of providing cover for ISIS fighters because the U.S. funded, trained, supported, and he does airstrikes to support ISIS. So, yeah, the ISIS and the U.S. still fighting against Syria and the Russians and the Iranians in Syria. Speaking of the military, the House passes a $700 billion military spending bill shortly after the Pentagon lost 2.1 trillion, just 3 times that much. And it passed by a whopping 356 to 70. So there's your democracy at work, America. Bravo. Speaking of DC politics, coming out of our friends at Consortium News 2 days ago, Trump adds to Washington swamp. President Trump's vow to drain the swamp was just one more empty promise as he adds to the muck with military contractors and key Pentagon jobs and other industry lobbyists at regulatory posts, says Jonathan Marshall. In the famous last words department, this December 12, 2016 headline from Reuters surely ranks among the worst. Trump attack on Lockheed Martin foreshadows war on defense industry. When it comes to military contractors, President Trump surely prefers to make love, not war. Not only does he seek a $51 billion increase in the base military budget, Trump is putting top defense industry insiders in charge of spending more than $300 billion a year in contract awards to private corporations. Okay, that's an incredible amount of money. Incredible amount of Federal Reserve funny money get printed. Thank you for all these great comments. What's up, Marta Lyle? Appreciate that. This one kind of caught wild. China always doing interesting stuff there. They're building the world's fastest wind tunnel to simulate hypersonic flight at a rate of 12 kilometers per second to test weapons that could strike the U.S. within 15 minutes. I don't think the Chinese are going to strike the Russians anytime, or strike the U.S. with these weapons anytime soon. But yeah, it's cool to see technology pushing forward, I guess. And again, it's funny how this is marketed like fear porn weapons to attack America. I don't think that the U.S. and the Chinese are going to go to war anytime soon because they like to work together. Moving along. Speaking, we were talking about the wars, the refugee crisis. There's something like 65 million refugees globally right now. And the same sort of situation we're seeing in the U.S. with homelessness is also on the rise in Europe. German homeless population explodes by 1/3 in 2016 as the migrant crisis takes its toll. The number of homeless people living on Germany streets has risen by 33% in a matter of just a couple of years. Meanwhile, as local can't afford their own home and have been forced to rely on the generosity of families to sleep at night, has also risen a staggering 26% to over 400,000 people. So it's the same sort of situation in Russia as in the U.S. with the numbers presented today on homelessness are shocking, said Ulrich Mascher, president of the VDK Social Association. In our view, this proves that ever more people are unable to pay their rents because of low wages and over-indebtedness, right? Meanwhile, here in the U.S., prices for real estate keep skyrocketing. Wages have increased, and I even have proof for that. Let me find that one. Coming out of USA Today, of all places, raises. Study shows 52% of workers didn't get one this past year. More than half of Americans have not gotten a bump in salary over the last months, a new survey finds, despite a tight labor market that's making it harder for employers to find workers. But employers with more education and higher incomes are more likely to get a raise, the Bankrate.com survey shows. So 52% of those polled did not get a raise. Okay, officially inflation in this country is at 2.4%, but really you look at things like housing prices, it's more like 6%, which is utterly absurd. And then that official 2.4% doesn't include food, doesn't include fuel prices, doesn't include basic cost of living stuff. Good day, bro. So it's pretty ridiculous, right? Anyway, no raises, stagnant wages, not just in the U.S., but all over Europe. Millionaire bankers, don't worry though, cheer up everybody. The millionaire bankers feel sorry for the struggling millennials. In its global wealth report from Credit Suisse says those who come of age after the turn of the century have had a run of bad luck, and that low wealth tend to be disproportionately found among the younger age groups. No doubt, because we don't have any assets. Because a lot of the youth went deep, deep, deep into debt just to get through college. J. Scott Knorr, not among the 52% that didn't get a raise. He got a 25-cent an hour raise, right? Yeah, sad. Um, the millennials face the rigors of the financial crisis and have also been widely hammered by high and rising house prices, right? We covered that. Rising student debt and increasing inequality. Millennials are not only likely to experience greater challenges in building their wealth over time, but also greater wealth inequality than previous generations. While relative youth means that they've as yet had little chance to accumulate assets or are spending all their money on avocado toast, Credit Suisse says they face particularly challenging circumstances, right? Avocado toast is a lot cheaper than steaks. It goes on and on. Pretty good reads. But long story short, interestingly, here, look at this. Global wealth rose 6.4% in the past year and is now 280 trillion. Okay, where does global wealth come from? Well, it really comes from printing money. More money in existence makes it look like there's more wealth out there, but in reality, it's concentrated in the hands of the few. And really, 6.4% increase in global wealth doesn't necessarily mean people are doing 6.4% better off. It means there's 6.4% more money sloshing around, and the money in your pocket is worth less. So that's all I got to say. Moving along here. What else we got in the news today? Oh, this is sad. Sorry. Coming out of Zero Hedge. Speaking of the millennials, you feel bad for the millennials who are all broke. Millions of millennials could be trading sex for their next debt payment. Here's how. Gardner T. Smith, what's up, bro? Gardner, I want to come visit you out in California. Hope you're doing good out there. I don't know if we're hitting the tipping point, man. This is just strange fiction. I'm just along for the ride like everybody else these days. Speaking of absurdities, there's this website called seekingarrangement.com. Today's real simple get out of debt option for the broke college, post-college millennial is through an unconventional dating website called seekingarrangement.com. In 2016, the website identified 5 million. That's a lot of kids, 2.5 million college students who turned to the site in an act of desperation to find a sugar daddy or even a sugar mommy in exchange for personal time and straight cash. This is stranger than fiction, but this is real. I want to show you some pictures here. So here's what the sugar daddies get the benefits. Each sugar daddy can have 4 sugar babies. No strings attached, and ideal relationships that are upfront and honest arrangements with someone who will cater to your needs. Oh, isn't that sweet? Sugar baby perks. They find a mentor, right? Established sugar daddies offer valuable guidance for long-term stability. They date experienced men. Date real gentlemen who don't play games, and be pampered. Indulge in shopping sprees, expensive dinners, and exotic travel vacations. So you can be a high-dollar hooker through this website. Here are some of the sugar baby females of broke millennials. Some of the ladies on there, and then here's some of the sugar daddies. Disturbing sugar daddies preying on desperate broke college millennials. So, yeah. I don't know. Sad. Bottom line, the millennial generation has turned desperate with debt up to their eyeballs, and it shows how this avocado and toast generation will do anything for a debt service payment. Right? 2.4 million. Okay, 2.4 million young people on there looking for a sugar daddy. Right? It's crazy. Sign me up. I'm kidding. Emilio Lucero chiming in, the oldest profession, right? Gage Message says, I've already been paying my debt that way. Laugh out loud. You know, you do what you got to do. I'm not judging. Um, yeah, you know, you do what you got to do. You guys are funny. I like these independent contractors. Yeah. You guys cracking me up with the comments today. Thank you so much. It's good to have some friends to go through this with, because it's like you read this stuff and it's just like, wow. This one coming from our friend Carrie Wedler at the Anti-Media. I interviewed her last week. Um, yeah, great interview with her. But 49% of Americans surveyed favor mandatory military service for the U.S. youth. Is this like, are we going the Israeli route here? Nearly half of Americans favor mandatory military service for the country's youth, according to a recent Gallup poll. As Carrie Weather details, the polling organization surveyed 1,006 Americans over the age of 18 between November 3rd and 4th, and 49% of those questions expressed support for a year of compulsory service. Furthermore, a majority of Republicans, including independents who lean Republican, favor it, as do men and those 65 and older. Bessie Davis, way to stand strong there. She's not going to hoe herself out. She filed for bankruptcy. Gage Messer chiming in, as if the older generations have never indulged in such acts, right? That's important to note. Like now in the era, you know, maybe, sorry about the wind there, maybe somebody meets on sugardaddy.com and they find their soulmate. You know, who knows? Maybe it's a very beneficial relationship for those people, but it's like, it's not ideal. You know what I mean? It's not an ideal way for our civilization to be operating. That's for sure. That people are so broke that they're willing to sell their souls, sell their bodies, sell themselves sexually to a sugar daddy in order to pay the bills, right? And you know, that, what does that say about the role money is playing in our lives? Like how important money has been, you know, money has been foisted onto us. It's like, odds are the average person on sugardaddy.com, the average young person looking for a sugar daddy or a sugar mama, wouldn't be with that person if it wasn't all about the money. So it is what it is. Moving along. Japan's plea to millennials, please buy stocks, right? Speaking of stocks and stuff, one of Asia's largest banks says Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. David Gledhill, Group Chief Information Officer at DBS, one of Asia's largest banks, says he believes Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. That's nothing new there. I have to say, you know, I'm still on the fence on the cryptos. I keep an eye on them, but at the same time, like, I don't really want to play the crypto markets because it basically is like it's this crazy speculative casino, right? I think I'm willing to like hire somebody else to pay the crypto markets for me, but I couldn't be bothered to spend my time researching and trying to stay ahead of such volatile markets here, right? It's insane. This is a relatively tame day in the crypto markets, and you got, you know, Bitcoin Cash is up 10%. That's huge. You know, if that was General Electric or Walmart stock, that'd be a very big day. But that's just the norm in the crypto markets, to see swings of 10% or more in the cryptos. So if you're gonna play the cryptos, you know, I'd say diversify. You know, it might be a way to make some money without having to work too hard. But at the same time, you're going to spend a lot of time stressing and worrying about it and researching it, and a lot of brain power wrapped up in that. And really, it's just a speculative casino. Emilio Lucero says, you think the crypto is actually going to go anywhere? Bitcoin is like a trick pony. That's a good point, Emilio. I don't know, man. I'd say that the blockchain technologies in general, like these decentralized funding schemes, you know, there are so many cryptocurrencies. There's something like 780 of them now. And some of them very clearly are like a funding mechanism for a startup company, right? Where they're trying to do some, you know, like what's Cure? We'll just click on this one as an example. CureCoin, $7 million in market cap. What is CureCoin all about? Let's find out. CureCoin is a new SHA-256 based cryptocurrency with a big vision. That is curing cancer, Alzheimer's, Huntington's, preventing viruses, and designing next level pharmaceuticals. Okay, so this is some pharma coin basically. But the point is that across the spectrum of businesses, people are creating cryptocurrencies to fund projects with the blockchain, like decentralized technology. So some of these, like the cryptocurrencies, the blockchain technology, some of them are going to succeed. Some of these things are going to stick around for a long time, but I don't know. Jerry Wallace chiming in with some real good common sense there too. Don't trust it. It's just a bunch of computers running wild, right? What happens when the lights go off? What happens when the power goes out? What happens when the internet goes down? What happens when the military-industrial complex decides to seize all the assets in various cryptocurrencies? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a wild ride. But I do know that if you play the cryptos and you keep an eye on it, you can profit in the short term, get out. But I'd say don't. Moving along. Speaking of money, this is coming out of the Hartsville Vedette, of all places. The guest view: tax reform plan does nothing to help middle America. Okay, it's funny that the Trump tax reform plan, as they initially released it, sounded like it was a pretty good deal for everybody, right? It sounded like, hey, everybody's going to get tax cuts. Well, then after the initial round of headlines came out, then they changed the law. And basically, it's huge benefits to the top 0.1%. So I guess we fight against this tax law to add it to the list of fun things to fight against. Monsanto and the U.S. farm groups are suing California for making them put warnings that glyphosate causes cancer. Monsanto Co. and the U.S. farm groups sued California on Wednesday to stop the state from requiring cancer warnings on products containing the widely used weed killer glyphosate, which the company sells to farmers to apply to its genetically engineered crops. And, people spray Roundup all over their houses. Probably a bad idea. Lots of great comments here on the cryptos and stuff. You say that, we'll go back to cryptos briefly. You say that, but same thing with 90% of traditional currency. Keep cash around the house. I'd say it's good to have a little cash on hand if you can save it, but real assets and precious metals are a real asset that'll hold its value. I think if the stock market crashes again, the cryptos will be a real wild ride. They'll probably go up. Things like gold and silver will definitely go up in a big way. Because those are the traditional safe havens and they retain their value. So, diversify. That's all I can say. The government of the most populous U.S. state added glyphosate, the main ingredient of Monsanto's herbicide Roundup, to its list of cancer-causing chemicals in July and will require the products containing glyphosate carry warnings by July 2018. California acted on the World Health Organization International Agency for Research on Cancer when they concluded in 2015 that glyphosate was probably carcinogenic, right? Bambino Giardineo chiming in, California should sue Monsanto and Roundup, right? We all should. The march against Monsanto, very real. We talk about the depopulation agenda. This glyphosate shit is definitely part of it. Okay, it's all over the planet. Then there's stuff like this too. The EPA, coming from Mercola, EPA refuses to ban another neurotoxic pesticide found in 87% of newborns. A petition to ban chlorpyrifos on food was filed over a decade ago. In March, the head of the EPA issued an order denying the petition to revoke all tolerances for chlorpyrifos on food. Disrupts brain development and causes brain damage, neurological anomalies, reduced IQ, and aggressiveness in children. So, thanks, EPA. Good looking out. So yeah, eat organic, guys, if you can. I know it's expensive, but if you can afford to eat organic, please do. You guys have got some great comments in here. Sorry, it's hard for me to keep up with all of them while also reading the news. So I'm just going to keep rolling along for now. Other strange news, the FDA approves a pill that tells your doctor whether you swallowed it or not. Chalk that one up there right with the human head transplant. And other science news, U.S. scientists try first gene editing in the body. Scientists for the first time have tried editing a gene inside a living human body in a bold attempt to permanently change a person's DNA to cure a disease. The experiment was done on Monday, a couple of days ago, in California on 44-year-old Brian Madu. Through an IV, he received billions of copies of a corrective gene and a genetic tool to cut his DNA in a precise spot. Okay, so this is your nanotech genetics right now. Pretty crazy. So yeah, there you go. Gene editing, it's real. And moving on to NPR, put this out a couple of days ago. Increased hours online correlate with an uptick in teen depression and suicidal thoughts. I always throw this in there to let people know we have to find that balance. You know, the internet is a great way to stay informed, but at the same time, it's also a great way to go crazy. Right? It's a great place to meet friends, but it's also a great place to feel very alienated. So find that balance, everybody. You know, stay aware, but stay optimistic. Be active in your community. We can't, you know, you can spend your whole life sitting on the computer or playing with the phone, trying to make sense of it, but it ain't ever going to make sense. The world is friggin' crazy. And, you know, all things in moderation. JH Messer chiming in, lost touch of reality. Lost a touch of reality. Everything is better in moderation. Yeah. A study published Tuesday in the journal Clinical Psychological Science finds that increased time spent with popular electronic devices, whether computer, cell phone, or tablet, might have contributed to an uptick in symptoms of depression and suicidal thoughts over the last several years among teens, especially young girls. No big surprise there in such a commodified culture where the female has been so over-sexualized, and you know, the image that women are expected to live up to. There's really no escaping from it in the era of social media. So good article here at NPR about that topic. But it's important to know, you know, it's a lot of things. It's chemicals in the food. It's financial pressure, economic pressure, you know, stagnant wages, general feelings of hopelessness, the mainstream media news itself. So many things can depress the shit out of people. And it's just important to note, keep it in balance. Jacqueline Begar, we're getting into the horoscopes. Anybody wants their scope read, let me know, because I'm bringing it up on the screen here. Astrology with Jacqueline Begar. Again, I'm not in Jackson. Here we go. Who wants their scope read? Lay it on me. I'm going to start with mine because I'm Taurus. Again, I don't really buy into the horoscopes 100%, but they're kind of fun. They get you thinking. I'm having a 4-star day. You discover a new side to a key person in your life. This person also could reveal an interesting piece of gossip. Ooh. Discussions most likely will affect your future decisions and direction. With more knowledge, you'll make better decisions. Tonight, decide to go out. J. Scott Nor. Carlito Amigo chiming in. Boys have a higher suicide rate, dude. Right on, Carlito. Thanks for letting me know. I don't think I said that girls. I didn't make a statement either way. Yeah, all teen suicide, all suicide's brutal. It's heartbreaking to see, and it's way too common in the world today. So thanks for your comment there, Carlito. Jay Scott North coming at you with Pisces, bro. You are having a 3-star day, so watch out. You might want to reach out to someone at a distance and or seek out an expert's advice. Sometimes getting on board with someone else's ideas and thoughts takes some work. Understand that your communication style is just different. Tonight, choose a stress buster. J. Scott Nor. Jerry Wallace, what's up, Scorpio? Sorry we didn't meet up while I was in Salt Lake City. I think it would have been cool to go get a beer together, a cup of coffee, have breakfast, lunch, whatever, shoot the bull. Jerry, you're having a 5-star day. No matter what your interest of the moment is, you can't be deterred. Someone who wants to have a conversation might choose to do something radical, so you will stop and listen. Maintain your sense of humor and give this person your attention. Tonight, only what you want. There you go, Jerry. Anti-Cathera McConaughey says, "Lou, is this for real?" Yeah, it's for real. It's 100% for real. Thanks for tuning in. Melissa Spurlock coming at you with the Libra. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, Melissa, you are having a 4-star day. You recognize the importance of keeping yourself on solid ground, especially if you would like to do more with your life. A discussion with an older or wiser person is likely to give you some insight on how to create more security and when to say no. Tonight, change a pattern. Matthew Kehoe, what's up, bro? Thanks so much for tuning in. Sagittarius coming at you. 4-star day. Decide what you want before taking action or saying anything. Oddly enough, someone else comes forward with a similar idea or desire. A conversation energizes both of you as you see a green light flashing. Consider sharing more often. Tonight, Matthew, adjust to the moment. There we go. Nathan Poole, I just read Scorpio, so hopefully you got that. Jeff Robertson, what's up, bro? Thank you so much for tuning in. Gemini, coming at you, dog. Where are you at, Gemini? There you are. 4-star day. While others express more camaraderie, your focus might be intense and on completing a project of importance. You will seek out more information before proceeding. Someone else will want to know more about a decision involving an investment. Tonight, Jeff Robertson, do what feels right. David Coco Rico Sedano, what's up, David? Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Thank you for the links you share with me, David, and thank you for being one of my Patreon subscribers. You, sir, are having a 5-star name. Trust your instincts, David, especially about a loved one. As a result, you'll experience a closer tie with this person. Understand that others see only what they want to see. Trust your intuition and rely on your knowledge. Act on a request. Tonight, join a friend for some good times. And Leo coming for the wife there. David, here we go. 4-star day. You find a friend thinking to be unusually dynamic and helpful. After much thought and discussions about a project or situation, you'll opt to move forward. Be willing to make an adjustment if needed. Sometimes creating a plan takes time. Tonight, have a friend over. So David and wife, have fun. Sue Green, what's up, Sue? Thank you so much for tuning in. Capricorn, coming at you, hon. 5-star day. Enjoy it, Sue. Clearly, you could not have anticipated what's being shared by others. Maybe that was the human head transplant news. I don't know. Your intuition tells you that there is more to the story than what you're hearing. You will ask questions, but resist being frustrated by what you see as incomplete answers. Tonight, Sue, make it spontaneous. Bessie Davis, what's up, Bessie? Oh, excuse me, Gage Messer first, and I'll get to you, Bessie. Bessie, thank you, by the way, for being a Patreon subscriber. Really appreciate that. Gage Messer, looking for Aquarius. Here we go. 3-star day. You understand what is happening with a loved one. Trying to help this person see an issue through your eyes might seem impossible. Drop this topic. Otherwise, you could create a problem between you. You might want to spend some extra time on a project. Tonight, Gage, let it happen. Let it happen. Bessie Davis, here we go. Virgo, again, thank you for the support on Patreon and all your comments and tuning in. 5-star day. You might be surprised by what you hear. You see tremendous potential in an idea that comes up in a discussion. When you act, recognize that a change might occur around what you are doing. Reassure those affected by sharing your thoughts. Tonight, Bessie Davis, get into the moment. Geo Folds, what's up? Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I just read Leo for David Coco Rico, so there it is, bro. Hopefully you caught it. Carlito Amigo Cyan. Sorry. Nathan Poole, what's up? Annie Pechno, I just read Scorpio for our dear friend Jerry Wall, so hopefully you checked it out. Auntie Cathera McConney said, check it out yourself at jacquelinebigar.com. It's a great point. You can do that. J. Scott Noor, enjoy watching the surf vids. This guy, Julian Jensen, is going to make some money if you follow that link, it looks like. Gardner T. Smith looking for Taurus, the bull. I read that one already, but for you, Gardner, I'll read it again. You discover a new side to a key person in your life. This person could also reveal an interesting piece of gossip. Discussions most likely will affect your future decisions and direction. With more knowledge, you'll make better decisions. Tonight, decide to go out. So I'm going out. Matthew Kehoe, thank you so much. Gregory Oesal Nelson, thank you so much for posting this to the friends of Lagari Trichin of Tibet, the deposed royal family of Tibet. Check out Gregory's work if you haven't seen it yet. Capricorn coming at you, Gregory. Really appreciate you sharing this all over the world. 5-star day. Clearly, you could not have anticipated what is being shared by others. Your intuition tells you there's more to the story than what you're hearing. You will ask questions, but resist being frustrated by what you see as incomplete answers. Tonight, make it spontaneous. I already read Capricorn a couple times. Lynette Hicks, hopefully you caught that. Emilio Lucero, hashtag star signs. I already read Scorpios. Hopefully you got that one. Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for tuning in, sir. Appreciate it. Carlito chiming in there. Also, identity politics and shit like mainstream feminist hypocrisy are some reasons for boys' higher suicide rates. Girls are culturally encouraged to show their feelings, whereas boys are to show their feelings. Yeah, whereas boys are the opposite. Right. I feel you there, Carlito. Neither boys nor girls have it too easy in the world today. Gage Messer saying, if you have time, is there a way you would be able to do an online interview? Sure. Gage, add me as a friend, and let's start talking about this. I got plenty of time. I'm on the road, but I can make time to do an interview for sure. David, enjoy the snow. You got snow coming? There's a lot of snow up in Jackson Hole right now. I'm down in Moab visiting some friends. Might spend Thanksgiving down here, climbing some rocks, getting in touch with the Red Desert. And I'll be doing the show too. You know, this library here, the Moab Library, is actually pretty awesome. Really good internet connection. And I'm making friends with the ladies that run the info desk. So hopefully next time I'm in a little meeting room and I don't have to be outside. Carlito Amigo saying, also horoscopes. Dude, I thought you were woke. You know it's completely arbitrary and every statement could be interpreted by anyone. It's the whole point. Also, the specific zodiac month has nothing to do with the astrological position of the zodiac region in the sky at the time of your birth. Laugh out loud, bro. Right, I'm with you, Carlito. I don't really believe in the scopes. I don't think that they're super informative. Generally, I do. These horoscopes by Jacqueline Begar are in the Jackson Hole Daily. And when I'm at home, I usually go through and critically analyze the local paper, the Jackson Hole Daily. So that involves reading the horoscopes too. And, you know, I don't put a lot of stock in it. I do say that the horoscopes get people thinking. I get, you know, even if it's not your horoscope, you just read this and it's like, oh, maybe you should think about this. Maybe you should think about that. I think it's an aid to self-awareness for some people, and I enjoy reading them, so I'm going to read them. You know, I don't know much about astrology, and I don't really care to. But, yeah, thanks for your comment. I appreciate that. Dusty Ragsdale looking for Gemini, 4-star day. While others express more camaraderie, your focus might be intense and on completing a project of importance. You will seek out more information before proceeding. Someone else will want to know more about a decision involving an investment. Tonight, do what feels right. There you go. Take it or leave it. You know, it's just interesting. Mark Sagan's looking for the crab. That is, what's the crab? See, that shows how much I know about horoscopes. Is that Cancer? I already read Cancer. I think that's the crab. There it is right there, bro. Carlito, I have noticed you like playing devil's advocate. I appreciate that. Dusty Wright Ragsdale, you need to pick me up. Hang in there, Dusty. Add me as a friend if you want. Matthew Kehoe saying it's just fun. David Cocorico saying it's to open your mind, nothing more, nothing less. You know, yeah, it's like, you know, gets people thinking. Ooh, this is interesting. Justy Chetty, not first, but first in this era. Lord Ganesha, Indian transplant tens of thousands of years ago. Are you talking about like a transplanted human head tens of thousands of years ago? Yeah. All right. On that note, looks like we're out of time. Bessie Davis, thank you as always for tuning in. Again, anybody, oh, that's good. My battery, I just got the battery running low alert here. It's getting dangerously low. Anybody wants to support my work, check out my Patreon page. It's at patreon.com/Max Mogren. I'm trying to make a living at this. Just did an interview with our Press TV, the Iranian TV network. But anybody wants to support my work, it's right here. I tell you, if I'm not worried about making enough money to live off of, it definitely frees me up from the fear of money that rules so many of us. And on here, I've got posts specifically for people that are donors. You know, we like to have some fun with it on here. This one is like checking out the some cool petroglyphs out there in the desert. This one's about getting drunk with the LAPD SWAT team in Yosemite. Not a very good picture. This one, like full disclosure about where all the money from Patreon subscribers goes. Last month, between Patreon and PayPal, I made $674, and I spent it all pretty quickly on stuff to improve the show and the functionality of the website, so forth. So that's what I'm up to. That's what I'm all about. And again, I want to make a living at. If y'all can help me out, I'd sure appreciate it. On that note, I'm gonna go enjoy this beautiful weather here in Moab. Probably go climb some rocks. It might rain the next couple days. So hang out with some friends, stay on top of the news, and